Real,
bold,
self-aware,
formative,
transformative,
challenge,
challenging,
rewarding,
emotional,
reflective,
catalytic,
and uncomfortable.
and enjoyable.
and surprising. It's surprising because you go into staff class meeting 8, 9, 10 new people that you've never met before. You come in with a lot of assumptions about what they're like, where they're from, what experiences they've had, and when you get to know them, you realize that a lot of that is not true at all, and so it was definitely surprising.
I'd say formative because I think one of the great goals of staff class is to utilize the strengths of the people that are there. So there are a lot of different ways to be a successful contributor to Res staff and to be a person who builds communities well. And the goal of the class isn't to make robots of identical RAs. It's going to take the skills of people and form them and guide them to use those strengths, and acknowledging those strengths for themselves and then making that tools for building a good community.
Uncomfortable because it's messy work, it's emotional work. Often we don't want to feel the emotion of having privilege or being the person who has oppressed someone else, and so that feels uncomfortable. It also feels uncomfortable to have to share so much of yourself when you potentially have never done that before.
It is also rewarding because when there's that moment when your participants finally understand that these identity and power dynamics do play out in the community and that learning about these topics really do apply to the job in building multicultural, inclusive communities. When they see that connection, I think it's empowering for both the resident and also the resident advisor or other staff member.
I think the thing that I learned most from staff class is that everyone has a story, and whether or not they want to tell you that story is up to them.
My thinking is this: so students get into this work because they generally want to help, so they care about each other, and they're interested in learning more about how can I make a difference. So we start there. So that's what I believe about all of our students. And so I think our challenge in this, and my takeaway is, so how do I help them in their journey of learning about themselves and how their identities impact others in their communities?
So Res staff has really been instrumental in me starting a group on campus called RXS, which is a dialogue group for queer people of color, because staff class really focuses in on the identities that are well represented as well as marginalized in our communities. So I've really taken that skill set in analyzing which identities are represented or not represented in creating RXS, so that the issues of people who are marginalized are being addressed on this campus.
Generative listening has been a really great skill that I've learned to utilize with my student staff. It's an opportunity for you to both hear and listen at the same time. And in hearing someone's story that may be really regular to them, you're able to hear their skills, you're able to hear core capacities that they have, you're able to hear what they value, and from that, translate that into a transferable skill, core capacity, or value in the work that they do.
I think one of the benefits of being with such a diverse group of people that are like-minded is that we still come at different levels. And one of the things that I carried from staff class, and one of the things that I was taught in being in that group, is that we're all at different levels. And this is kind of true in communities, and not just different levels of who's better or worse, but in terms of what skills on a spectrum of skills are at our disposal to building community. So it's meeting people and acknowledging what they have that's conducive to building communities, and identifying that, and then tapping that potential and those skills, because that's what we do in the staff class. We're talking to people. We're in our generative listening, in our conversations, we're pointing out skills to people that they may not know about themselves. It's very subconscious. And so taking that to communities, people who are, for example, first years, and who kind of think that all the community building is going to be done for them. And then as someone who's on staff, telling them you have actually a huge role to play in being, you know, a fundamental builder of the community yourself, and that takes identifying skills and relaying that